And today we will be having discussion on two topics: Criterion 6, topic concerning governance, leadership and management; Criterion 7, institutional values and best practices. I welcome all with the belief that the session will be informative as intended. It is initiated by IQAC, St.Teresa's Degree College for Women. We are pleased to have in our midst the esteemed and experienced resource person, Professor Jagadisha J, Assistant Professor, Government First Grade College, Hirisave, Hassan. It's my pleasure to wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, for the session.
Thank you, madam.
I also welcome all the participants for their participation. Hope we will have a great session ahead. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Thank you. Once again, a warm welcome to the final day of this national level webinar. I wholeheartedly welcome all the deans, principals, associate professors, and assistant professor, all my dear colleagues and administrative staffs as well for this final session. Before starting this session, I would like to highlight few points regarding the Criterion 6. So till Criterion 5, there will be a concentration on various persons or stakeholders like teachers and society and even about the students also till Criterion 5. But when it comes to the case of Criterion 6, NAAC expects us to have a good governance that will reflect on the total administration process of the institution. So here, one portion is also provided for IKAC as well. So that's why it will be equally taken as important. Along with the administration, the IKAC also plays a major role in the leadership and management of the institution as well. So before starting this, it will be focused on the first point, and that is the first step of any institution, that is vision. So based on the vision, how the performance is happening, that they want to know exactly how it is happening. So it is all about Criterion 6. So let us know about the governance, leadership and management, which will be expected from the NAAC in the following metrics. It has been allotted with 100 weightage and 5 chapters will be there. That is 5 key indicators and 9 metrics will be there. Out of 9 metrics, 4 qualitative metrics will be there and 5 quantitative metrics will be there. So qualitative metrics plays a major role, and even many of the institutions are suffering to score in these qualitative metrics as well. So my observations I will be going to share with you people regarding where the institutions are failing to get the CGPAs, or how we can score more, or how we have to be answering in a such a way that where they have to be convinced. So that I will going to highlight today in about the Criterion 6 for qualitative metrics. As usual, quantitative metrics will be with a clear-cut picture. They will going to ask the question. We will going to provide the details. The first chapter speaks about the institutional vision and leadership. So there will be one QLM which will be allocated with a 10 weightage. And how to answer for that, what are the topics need to be covered, all those things I will going to mention in that first key indicator. And the second key indicators expects what has happened in the institution in the past 5 years. On that basis, they want to know few information. That is strategy development and deployment, which is allocated with the 10 weightage, which is of 2 questions. One is QNM, another one is QLM. And the Key indicator 3 and 4 are very much important as it takes 50% of the allotted weightage. That is, when it comes to the case of 6.3 faculty empowerment strategies, 35 weightages is being allotted, where we are supposed to answer for 2 QNMs and 1 QNM. And it is 35 weightage, completely 35% of the total weightage have been given to this key indicator. We need to observe properly, and where we are failing or where we have to improve, that we can focus now. And the fourth key indicator speaks about the financial management and resources with 1 QLM allotted with the 15 weightage. Here also many of the institutions are unable to get the good weightage. So that I will going to focus how it can be and how it is possible in the purview of the institution, as I'm going to explain. And the last one is most important part, that is IQAS, that is internal quality assurance system, how the system is working. For that purpose 30 weightage will be allocated. QNM will be there and another one is QNM. So like this the uh, overview of the criterion 6 is there. Let us start with the first key indicator, institutional vision and leadership, where it will be with the 1 QLM. That is, we need to write in the 500 words about few informations. The metric mentioned as 6.1.1, the governance and leadership is in accordance with the vision and mission of the institution. The first part. The second part, and it is visible in various institutional practices such as decentralization and participative management in the institutional governance. These two topics has to be covered in 500 words. In the previous manual, there was a separate question about the vision mission statement, and for decentralization and participative management, there was a different question. Now they have combined together. And while writing this, many of the institutions starts with knowing that we need to write our institutional vision and missions, objectives, so and so. That will be the part of QLM. So many institutions are thinking like this. But as per my experiences, and I will look into the NAAC point of view, if I see they're expecting about the write up about the governance and leadership, not about the vision mission statement. If we just mention vision mission statement, that is not reflective of what is happening in the institution. The thing here is, in 500 words, we need to write on the governance and leadership, not on the vision mission. But why they have asked about this? The leadership or governance should be performing in the institution with the point of view of achieving the vision through following the missions. Everybody will be having a dilemma here how to understand this question. In a simple manner, I can say, first, before writing answer for this question, we need to understand what is vision for an educational institution. What are the missions can be? Is there any difference? First, we need to focus. If you have a dream, then it is called as vision. How you are going to achieve your dream, that will be called as mission. So this is the simple understanding. And when it comes to the case of setting the vision for an educational institution, depends on the interest of the stakeholders. If you are sitting alone and preparing vision for your institution, then it may not be suitable, or in the terms, in our words, we can say, if it is measurable, then it can be considered as a vision. If it is not measurable, then you cannot write properly how it is happening in your institution. Many of the institutions will start in the vision statement by stating global level, providing opportunities at global level. national, international level. If you write like that, and if you are situated in a small town, or where your institution is providing with 1 or 2 degree programs, then you are speaking about global level competition, global level challenges, then it will not be match up. And you cannot write the QLM properly if your vision is like one side and your actual position somewhere lands, which is totally different from your vision. If that is the case, if it is going for first cycle, you can change your vision at any time. If you are going for any subsequent cycle, if you have completed recently any cycle, then you can change your vision. And there will be few questions also. Can the vision be changed from years to years? Now the corporate sector, companies like that, the many banking sector, they are changing their visions 3 months once. Yearly once they will going to change. At least for the NAAC purpose, the next questions will be similar to this only. That's why I'm taking bit time to make you to get understand with the why we have to focus on the vision. The vision must be at least achievable in 5 years once, and it has to be improvised to the next level. Like that, step by step, we need to prepare the vision. If some private institutions are there, set visions will be there, then they can go with that. But if they are able to achieve it, then it will be useful for the institution. In the criterion 6, they will going to gain more. That's why the first part will not only speak about what is vision and mission, how it has been achieving through the leadership and management in the institution, that has to be written over there. If you are writing providing quality education to the students, competitive spirit among the students, to increase the competitive spirit, what type of programs will be organized and how it is affecting your students. If you are writing about the quality education, then what do you mean by quality? How you will measure the quality education? So those steps need to be focused on that process. We need to write the QLM in 200 to 300 words. The second part speaks about the institutional practices such as decentralization and participation. Regarding this, one example has to be given in that assessment year, which happened in that assessment year. That is decentralization and participative management. Any one practice. Suppose that example need to be explained in 200 words. Like that, we will prepare the 500 words answer for this QLM. So the 200 words should speak about one example which has happened in the assessment year, like preparation of timetable, conducting of any workshops, any state level sports meet. Like this, any one example event or organized any seminars, anything which happens in where the process will be explained with the two words decentralization and participative management. I will be taking an example of preparation of academic calendar for an institution. While preparing the academic calendar of events, many of the IKC coordinators will take the reference from the university calendar of events. Yes, that is the first step. The starting date and ending date will be decided by the university. The rest of the informations, when you will conduct the NSS programs, when you will organize the research activities, when you will do the curriculum delivery, when you will prepare the internal assessment test and examinations, and when you are going to organize the sports meet or any cultural competitions, and different committees, what are the programs will be prepared. So everything must be planned. While preparing that, all the departmental HODs, committee conveners, opinion has to be taken. That should be mentioned in the minutes of meeting. If it is like that, then the decisions will be taken at what event should be conducted in which month. So which activities need to be focused in the first semester or odd semester, which activities needs to be focused in the even semester. Like this, planning will be done through the participation of all the teachers And with the decentralized opinion, we are going to prepare the academic calendars. So this is a practice. So like this, one practice where the decentralization and participation both should be explained. So that is the first QLM. If you write like this, then we can give the justification when the P team visits, because we will be having a documentary evidences which are related to vision, mission statement, the programs conducted, and one example which is related to decentralization and participative management. So in this way, we can score more here. Now let us move on to the second key indicator, that is strategy, development and deployment. 10 weightage will be allocated for this. The first one is awarded with the 6 weightage, a QLM, that is the functioning of the institutional bodies is effective and efficient as visible from policies. Administrative setup, appointment, service rules, procedures, deployment of the institutional strategic perspective, development plan, etc. So here two topics are there. On these two topics, we are supposed to write the QLM. Separately, we need to mention about the what are the policies we are following regarding the administrative setup, appointment and service rules. Usually for government of Karnataka, KCSR will be there. Like that, your state-wise acts will be there, centralized rules will be there, UGC norms can be considered here. Like this, these type of informations has to be provided by the HEI. And the second part speaks about the institutional strategic plan, where it has been developed and deployed successfully. That has to be mentioned. Here also we need to provide one example. Like that, first 300 words, you will going to focus on the rules and regulations for appointment and administrative setup and policies and service rules. The another 200 words, we need to focus on one example where you can give a proper explanation regarding the strategic plan. Here we need to understand what is strategic plan. Strategic plans are nothing but two options or more than two options, plan A and plan B. If you are taking to conduct a decision to conduct or organize an workshop, at the end moment, if you are unable to get the resource person due to some technical issues, some resource person is unavailable on that particular day, somewhere in-house a resource person have been deployed as a situational resource person for that. Then that is called as strategies developed and deployment. So plan A, resource person, a particular resource person was been selected. Plan B, if plan A fails at that moment, plan B will be implemented. Like this strategic plan are any examples which has already happened in the last 5 years. We need to focus like this. Then we need to do it. So sometimes everybody will be taking an exemption of COVID time. That can also be considered, but still many of the strong examples will be there that need to be focused, I feel. Many of the institutions have organized offline workshops as a plan A. At that time, COVID situation was there. So then we converted into online sessions. So like this, plan B was successfully implemented. So some example need to be explained here as a plan 1 and plan 2. Because of the unable to implement the plan 1, so we have implemented successfully and completed the goal as per the plan 2. So like that, one strategy has to be developed and it has to be mentioned. So like this, we need to focus on the institutional activities. Through that activities, we need to answer for this. Many of the institutions are failing here to identify what is happening or what to be mentioned here. So they will going to write on their own, which is not happened in the institution. In that way, the IKC coordinator cannot give the justification in front of the peer team when it comes to the case of QLM evaluation. So we need to focus on proper examples here. Then we need to write which has happened in at your institutional level. So So that will be explained over here. Uh, Next questions is QNM. It is having a MCQ option, that is from option A to option E. Four areas will be asked. Whether implementation of e-governance in the areas of operations of administration, operation of finance and accounts, and student admission support, and in the process of examination. Do we have any paid version of online softwares for this can be considered as e-governance? If they have asked this question, it requires that for an higher education institution to have own softwares or paid versions for administration purpose. It will be helpful for the stakeholders to have a good rapport with the institution if they have a proper channel to address their grievances. For the administration purpose, if you have separate website, then that will be considered. For finance and accounts, if you have a paid versions, that will be considered. And for student admission and support system, many of the universities will be providing My3 helpline like that. Even for state level scholarship facilities, SSP portal, that can be considered. But even for the examination also, universities will be providing the complete picture about how to go with the payment of fees and collecting the hall ticket, everything that will be done with the software itself. That can be considered only when you take the screenshots of these interfaces and where your college or institutional name is highlighted, then only it will be considered. If the institution name is not there, you will going to get the DVV. So let us see the how the DVV will be asked regarding this. Please provide the following supporting documents to the input given institutional expenditure statements for the budget heads of e-governance implementation. If you are using ERP, some faculty member was mentioning while explaining the ERP in Criterion 2. So that can also be considered here, ERP document as a screenshot, and annual e-governance report approved by the governing council. So these type of documents are required. If you have taken the paid version, the bill is required for that. Even the bills and budgeted statement will be considered as a document for 6.2.2 metric. So these are the things we need to concentrate. For the government institution in Karnataka, we are following HRMS, K2, EPAR, and EMIS, even Seva Sindhu, UUCMS, and university examination portals can be considered here for government of Karnataka. Any institutions, which comes under the Department of Collegiate Education, can take the benefit of this. For the private and unaided colleges and aided institution should have their own softwares and websites to get good weightage in this particular metric. So now let us move on to the key indicator 3, very much important. And among the criterion 6 key indicator, this is the highest weightage allotted key indicator, that is 35% completely has been provided to the faculty empowerment strategies. Here the first one, question 6.3.1 speaks about QLM, which is allocated with 8 weightage, where the institution has effective welfare measures and a performance appraisal system for teaching and non-teaching staff. Here we need to provide the what are the facilities provided by the institution and utilized. Both should be mentioned. Instead of mentioning we provide a casual leave, we provide a child care leave, mentioning that is also good. But apart from that, how many have been utilized? That statistical information will give the strengthen and will strengthen the QLM words, which we are going to write in the 500 words, where we need to focus separately what are the benefits available for the teaching staffs and non-teaching staff and how it has been utilized. Those a list of welfare measures available in the same institution, and even career advancement scheme if we are following CAS process, and EPAR facilities, confidential reports, CRs, we call them as CRs. So these type of information need to be right in the 500 words. Apart from that, if anybody has taken medical insurance, medical leaves, that also can be considered, because all those comes under the welfare measures. And performance appraisal system, as we are following AGP, so that also can be considered here. Promotions, those can be considered here. And the documents are the granted by the government or by the management will be considered as a document process for this. And many of the private institutions have successfully implementing this process of performance appraisal system, and it will be evaluated in a very good manner. So that process has to be explained here. Instead of mentioning what type of PAS you have, how it happens in the institution, that need to be focused here. So for that, more weightage will be there. Why I always mentioning while writing the QLM, instead of mentioning the steps, just mention about how it happens in your institution. It gives originality to the SSR. If you see many of the institutions, SSR will be copied from somewhere. One paragraph will be taken from one institution, another paragraph will be taken from another institution. It is not helpful for the institution as well. And even the plagiarism check will be there at NAAC portal also. So it will be affecting the grades as well. Many of the institutions which have a proper resources and which will they are landing in a B or B plus, where the importance has been given to the originality while writing the QLMs. They are landing in A plus, A double plus like this. So my analysis, when you speak about selecting a person to write the QLM, go with the person who have a good experience and who think in the point of view of the institution instead of his in own way. If you think in the point of view of the stakeholders or in the process which happens in the institution, the QLM write-up will come with the originality. And the next question is allocated with the 12 weightage, which is a QNM 6.3.2, where percentage of teachers provided with financial support to attend conferences, workshops, and towards membership fees for professional bodies during the last 5 years. Many of the institution feels that if they are getting the financial benefits, they will going to write, otherwise they will going to write zero. So my suggestion, request the management or the concerned authority to provide at least a 25% or 10% and any much how much amount if they can afford, that will be provided to the each faculty who works and focuses on research area. If you do research activities, you will get marks in criterion 3. If you support those activities, you will get marks in criterion 6 as well. So the teachers must be provided with the financial support. I request the management can afford. If the fees is 4,000, at least 1,000 can be given to a particular teacher, where that will be motivating the other teaching faculty members to do the research activities, to have an interest towards their own growth. If they start thinking about their own growth, they also perform in the institution. The institution will also grow in simultaneously. In NAAC, they will going to get easily benefit of these two growths. That is, providing financial support is very much required. In many of the institution, if it is not possible to get the benefit from the management, then my suggestion is that have a policy where you can have the practice, and you will be spending some amount for that birthday celebration or wedding anniversary. Like this, you will be gifting some amount or some materials or some gifts to the other faculty members. Instead of doing like that, I request have a policy, have a small petty cash book and a small committee for that. A senior faculty like that, staff member, staff secretary can take care of these activities. It's my just opinion. Can the institutions think on this, like contributing some amount annually, a small amount which is measurable, that collectively put together, if you collect some amount, some portion has to be utilized for research activities by the teachers. If somebody has presented well and got the prize of best paper present award, then 25% of his or her fees must be reimbursed through that committee. If it happens, if you have a practice of this at institutional level also, it can be climbed over here. It can be considerable. If the management is not supporting, because of many issues will be there, ignore all those things. Think about the possibilities. That is possible activity need to be focused. Like this also, we can have a proper document, proper committee for that, and sanctioning order must be there, and thanking letter from that particular person to that committee has to be there. If all these documents are maintained properly and attested by the principal, then that can be considered as a document. There is no restriction on this much amount need to be given to a particular faculty. That is depends on the institutional financial position. So I request it concentrates on 12 weightage. 12 weightage means 48 marks. Kindly consider this suggestion and think on that. If possible, get the good weightage here. And in the Excel sheet, we need to provide only this information. In the first column, year, second column, name of the teacher, and in the third column, name of conference or workshop attended for which financial support has been provided. Not all the details will be given here, only for which financial support is provided. Name of the professional body for which membership is provided. So if the membership is being done, taken care, so that will be mentioned separately. And amount received in lakhs we need to mention. If you have received 10,000, then you are not supposed to mention it as 10,000. You should mention it as 0.01. Like that we need to mention. We can avoid the DVB as well. So let us see the DVB portion, what they have asked in the metric 6.3.2. They are asking about the providing the following supporting documents to the inputs, like a policy document on providing financial support to the teachers. Policy document is nothing but you can prepare in a one page where the rules will be mentioned. And the second one is audited statement of the account highlighting the financial support to the teacher to attend the workshop or fees to the for the professional bodies. Here audited statement is nothing but a simple petty cash book. Small petty cash book has to be maintained, where the collection of money will be entered on the left side of the page. On the right side of the page, to whomever you have paid. At the end of the year, if nobody have been utilized this for the research activity, then for the purpose of any other activities can be provided. So like that, a petty cash book has to be maintained. If it possible, have a committee internally with the senior faculty members. There, they have to verify the vouchers and the amount collected. If it is found correct, then you will mention it as it has been verified and found correct. So and so person will be signed on that document. If these documents are available at institutional level, in 6.3.2, maximum score will be gained by the institution. So now let us move on to the next final question in the key indicator 6.3, that is 6.3.3. Percentage of teaching and non-teaching staff participating in FDP, professional development, and or administrative training programs during the last 5 years. Here, the question itself is speaking, the institutions has to organize, facilitate the teaching and non-teaching staff through some training programs. In corporate sector companies, new trainings will be provided every year once. Like that in educational institution also, how to maintain the cash book, how to utilize the softwares, how to maintain the admission track record, how to write the scholarship a document, how to prepare the NIRF document, how to write the SSR, what are the procedures to be followed in NAAC. Each and everything is required. For teachers, even the very much important training is required, how to use the ICT facilities. This can be considered as a faculty development program at institutional level. Even if it is less than 5 days also, it can be considered. Sometimes if you do it online also, it will be considered. So the relevant document must be like this. Date from and to, if it is happened between more days, then has to be mentioned. The second one is title of the program has to be mentioned, and number of participants. Try to organize the programs where other institutions should also participate over there. It will be beneficial for you, like student exchange and like faculty exchange. Then the last thing about the link to the relevant document, a brochure, report hosted on the official institutional website. So that has to be provided here. Now you should think this is what the Criterion 6 speaks all about. We are speaking in the Criterion 6.1.1 metric, where decentralization and participative management, we were talking about an example. Now this can be considered as an example. If you do a FDP, how it has been organized for the benefit of teaching and non-teaching staff, what type of program was organized. Before organizing, it has been taken the consideration from the stakeholders as well, and then it has been implemented like this. So the programs will be mentioned here, how it has been prepared and completed, will the process has to be explained in the metric 6.1.1. Like this, details has to be mentioned. And even the most important for this is certificates. For each and every training program, the institution has to provide the proper certificates where the resource person name, everything must be there. So that will be utilized as a certificate as well for the NAAC document. Next key indicator speaks about the financial management and resource mobilization, which has been allotted with the 15 weightage for only one question, that is a QLM. Institution has strategies for mobilization and optimal utilization of the resources and funds from various sources like government and non-government organizers. And even it also speaks about conducting of financial audits, both internal and external. Previously, there were separate questions. Now they have combined these two questions and have given a 15 weightage for this. The first portion, we need to focus on the resource mobilization. In simple words, I can say, if you are running your institution through usage of some electricity or some ICT facilities, UPS facilities, telephone charges, everything will be dependent on finance only. To buying a piece of chalk and a duster, boards, tables, everything depends, augmentations, maintenance, everything is dependent on the finance. How you are going to get the proper channels to raise the funds? That is the question. Now, every institution in common, they can say about the fees collection from the students. Apart from that, what the institution takes as an measures to collect the funds from the philanthropers, non-government organizations, or even from government organizations. So that process need to be explained here. The second portion speaks about the audit, where internal audits will be called as at institutional level if the faculty member and office staff, in a combination of that, if the committee is prepared, that will be called as internal audit. From the external audit from the Department of Collegiate Education for us, and for the from the management if it is for the private institution, even from state audit will be considered as a external audit. So these type of audits, whether it is conducted regularly, how it is affecting, what are the suggestions provided, how we are improvising this process, that need to be focused and written in 200 words. So like this way, we can properly provide the information regarding these two factors, which is mentioned in the QLM in the 6.4.1. So for this purpose, minutes of meeting, order copy for committee, everything must be considered. Now, let us move on to the last portion of the criterion 6, and very much important. It is like a heart to the whole body. That is IQAC, that is internal quality assurance cell. How it is working, that is the system, internal quality assurance system, which is of 30 weightage. Now, 15 weightage will be provided for one QLM, where in a simple manner, I can explain. If it is for first cycle, we need to mention what are the special activities have been conducted under IKAC, and can mention it as a contribution of the IKAC. Two examples must be written, only two examples. Many of the institution are mentioning even purchase of furniture also IKAC initiative, construction of building also IKAC initiative. IKAC thinks about the quality, not about the quantity. So now my suggestion, the focus of IKAC should be on the increasing of quality teaching, on the increase of the facilities providing to the teaching and non-teaching staff, organizing the workshops which will be enhancing the knowledge, and providing experiential learning to the students, increasing. So these kind of qualitative measures what have been taken by the institution. A minimum two examples has to be provided here. And the second portions think in the different angle where we need to focus on the subsequent cycle institutions. So the second cycle, third cycle, or subsequent cycle institution has to write about description in what are the previous recommendations provided by the peer team at their previous cycles, and till what level it have been achieved, that has to be mentioned here. So they are mentioning some example. The admission has to be increased. What percentage of admission have been increased when compared to the last cycle? They have uh, provided us suggestion on introducing PG programs, additional add-on and certificate programs. What type of programs have been increased and provided? That need to be focused properly. And the most important part, we need to see the previous recommendations. On that basis only, we should write this QLM. So these are the two parts, and we need to focus on this. Now let us move on to the final question, that is 6.5.2, quality assurance initiatives of the institution, including the following. Here also they have given the option in MCQ format, and four options will be provided here. Previously, the fourth question was unable to meet by all the institution. Now they have made an improvisation in that question also. Let us come to the first point, where if the IQAC is active, it will collect the feedback and analyze it, and it will find out the improvement areas for each and everyone, for teaching, non-teaching, and students. Everything will be found out by the IQAC coordinator. That suggestion need to be recommended through the principal. If it is happening, the option one can be selected. That is one of the above we can select. Feedback collected, analyzed, and used for improvements. Now this feedback you can take like this, based on the triple S document what we have shared in the WhatsApp group. So 21 questions will be there. Out of the 20 questions will be like MCQ and one open-ended question, for the which is based on the student oriented. On that questions only, you can collect some feedback from the students as well. Even you can modify few questions which will be in the point of view of the teachers. That feedback must be taken care. From the non-teaching staffs also, we need to collect the feedback, and then we should prepare the recommendations. What are need things to be focused for the improvement in the process to increase the quality. The second one is collaborative quality initiatives with other institution or membership of international networks. If it is available, then we can have a collaboration with the other institution or with the international network as well. If we have collaboration, we will get the marks. And the third option is participation in NIRF, National Institutional Ranking Framework, where the question is very crystal and clear to us. Participation will be counted here, whether you have got the place in out of 200. Even NIRF will be for only 200 institutions, ranking will be announced. Whether you appear in within 200 or not, it is not most important. The important part is participation. If you have participated, you will be having a certificate, then that can be considered and it will be provided with the weightage. And the last fourth one, inequality audit accreditation recognized by the state, national and international agencies, such as first one itself is NAAC. It's a new change they have made. If previously, if we have uh, entered into any NAAC cycle, here we will going to get the marks as well. Even NBA and ISO certifications will be there, which will be provided to the MBA program offering institutions. So if you are able to provide documents for all these four activities, we can select all of them. In the Excel sheet, we need to provide this type of information: year, regular meetings of the IKC held on which date, and conferences, seminar, workshops on quality. On quality, what are the workshops conducted? This will be helpful for the IKC to design how they are supposed to work. So if they see this question and Excel sheet, they can easily say what is the role of an IKC coordinator. Then the fourth column about the collaborative quality initiatives with other institution. Then participation in NIRF along with the status, if it is there. Then orientation programs on quality issues for teachers and students. Now the details of orientation programs will be there. Indirectly, they are saying if you conduct an orientation program, just not focusing on explaining what are the facilities you have, explain them what are the quality issues, how to improve the results, what to be focused to improve your results, and the teaching methodologies that has to be oriented properly to all the teaching and students as well. And any other quality audit accreditation recognized by the state agencies can be mentioned. Now let us see the DVV for this last question, where 6.5.2 please provide the following supporting documents to the input given. Supporting documents pertaining to NIRF. And the second one is a list of conferences or seminars, workshops on quality conducted along with the brochures and geotagged photographs. So these are the DVV they have asked. It is all about Criterion 6. Now let us move on to the Criterion 7, where it is a very beautiful criterion according to me, because the NAAC think in the point of view of the society as well. Till Criterion 6, it was focusing on the university, teachers, then about the students, library, infrastructure facilities. Then it was concentrating on leadership and IKSC. Now it is also focusing on the societal issues or the futuristic aspects, where we should have some institutional values and best practices. Now, the total weightage allotted here is 100, which will be divided among three key indicators, having 6 questions. And 4 among them are qualitative metrics, only 2 are quantitative metrics. Now, the first key indicator will be awarded with 50% of weightage. 2 QNMs and 2 QLMs will be there. Most important thing is key indicator 2 best practice, and key indicator 3 institutional distinctiveness. awarded with 30 and 20 weightage respectively, having each one question, that is QLMs. Now the first key indicator, institutional values and social responsibilities with a 50 weightage. The first question is a QLM where 10 weightage is allotted. Here we can explain about all the programs or promotional activities regarding gender equity and celebrations of commemorative days, events, festivals during the last 5 years. My observation, I'll directly come to the point. Many of the institutions are mentioning about the days which they are going to celebrate, like Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti. We will going to celebrate Independence Day, Martyrs Day, National Girl Child Day, um, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, Republic Day, Discrimination Zero Discrimination Day. Like this, many of the commemorative days will be selected. Ambedkar Jayanti like this. My point of view is, instead of mentioning the calendar events, that is the dates or the days, why it is been following on that particular day, what has been considered as an oath taking or any issues addressed, and how it is affecting your institution, what changes it made. If you select about Gandhi Jayanti, on that Gandhi Jayanti day, what program have been organized, are the institution focused to address what type of issues? After addressing those issues, what will be the change in the minds of the students, in the minds of the teachers, in the minds of the stakeholders? That process and impact must be written here. Instead of just writing, we will celebrate Gandhi Jayanti on October 2nd and we will distribute all sweets to the everyone. Instead of this, take every year one oath and try to achieve before the next year. So like that, if you are doing, if you are able to project yourself in a right manner, then the weightage will be more for this question. And reports and photos will be provided for this. The second one is a QNM 7.1.2. The institution has facilities and initiatives for alternate sources of energies and energy conservation measure. Many of the people think about the solar energy. If it is working condition, if it is in a working condition, then only it will be considered. Try to utilize that. The second one is, before implementing that solar energy, what was the electricity bill charges? Is there any change or reduction after utilizing this? That need to be taken care as a document for this. The second one is also about the management of the various types of degradable and non-degradable waste, where we will not going to get the marks if you just show the dustbins. So here they are asking about the management of various types of garbages or waste. Here they are asking about the management, how the process will be there. You will be having some MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the local municipal authorities or who will collect the garbage, everything. That need to be focused here. Instead of taking the photos of putting the wastage over one side, one institution have provided the details about they are following the e-waste management. What they will do, they will collect all wires and keyboards and mouse which is damaged and they will put into a dustbin. That is called as dumping of e-waste. That is not e-waste management. Like this, dumping cannot be considered as a management. If you are mentioning as a management, that has to be cleared in a scientific way or in a natural way. That has to be outside the institution. It should be utilized somewhere else for other purpose. If it is in that manner, that can be considered. For water conservation facilities, many of the institutions thinks about the water conservation, where the wastewater from the what I can say, drinking water facility, RO, water purifier, that cannot be considered as a water conservation. Water conservation speaks about the rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting means not only providing the pipe connection for water flowing from the terrace to the one place. There must be a some place where you can store the water, collecting the water through the rain and storing and utilizing for your campus. Then only it will be awarded with the marks. So these are the measures which need to be focused by the IKSA coordinator to bring into the notice of the management. Then only it can be easily highlighted on the PTM visit date. Even we can provide the documents related to that as well. And the next two are very much with related to the institutional level decisions, that is green campus initiatives and disable friendly and barrier free environment. Disable friendly and barrier free environment means there must be a ramp and even some wheelchairs if available, that has to be provided if required at the institutional level. If we have, we will get good marks. If you have blind students, then there must be a tactile path. Tactile path will show the direction to the blind students where they are supposed to go, their diversion. Even on the present tiles, it can be pasted. You can think over, you can dig the more informations which have been already accepted by the NAAC. And if possible, while walking on that tactile path, alongside of a wall, there must be some clamps where they can hold it and they can move, like we see in the metro stations. So it must be like that. Then only it can be considered. And regarding the green campus initiatives, putting the plants in the pot cannot be considered. Planting on the soil is most required. So on the land, we need to make the plants to be planted, and it should be taken care ultimately by the students. Then it will be awarded with the proper weightage. And the next QNM is 7.1.3, quality audits on environment. If you have done the previous questions properly, for this question, it will be easy to answer. Green audit, if you have green initiative, you can have a green audit. Green audit, now they have made very simple. One external member from any forest department or any person who is related to having a knowledge on this to identify the expenses and names of the particular plants which will happen in a expenditure for 1 year, who can calculate, that can be considered. And at institutional level only, we can make ourselves one committee that will be helpful for us to prepare the reports. For energy audit, if you are producing the energy, then only it can be done, in simple words. And then clean and green campus initiatives, we need to focus on many things, avoiding the plastic usage, avoiding the vehicles, everything. At least weekly once we should use the form of no vehicle day, where public transportation only will be utilized. These type of policy documents must be there. Then the last one is very much important. Few NSS activities will be done inside the campus, cannot be considered. If they do it outside, then only the marks will be provided. Beyond the campus, environmental promotional activities, cleaning the nearby schools, hospitals, and providing awareness about the historical monuments, and cleaning over there, everything can be considered here. If you have these type of documents, we will get the weightage for this. And the last question in the first key indicator, 7.1.4, here also one QLM is there, where we need to describe the institutional efforts or initiatives in providing the inclusive environment. What are the programs conducted? Even we do Sadbhavan Divas, even some celebrations will be done, like dress competitions will be done, and regional language based debate competitions will be done, representing the your regions. Those cultural events competitions will be done. Some anything essay competition can be considered here. And even the professional ethics, values, rights, duties and responsibilities related programs will be organized to the employees of the institution, that can be considered. How it is affecting conducting of competitions, or doing jatas, writing essays, competitions, all these, how it is affecting the institute, that need to be focused. Like this manner, we can write this question. Now, the most awaiting part, and many of the people will ignore or having a lack of interest in this, best practice, which is allocated with 30 weightage, where we are supposed to write in the form of QLM, describe. That means we should specify two best practices successfully implemented by the institution as per the NAAC format provided in the manual. So in the NAAC manual, they have provided a few points, that is 7 parameters they have given. On that basis only we should write. The question arises in the each of the person's mind is, what is best practice? Which can be considered as a best practice? In a simple line, I can say it should not be instructed by any authorities. It must be a special initiative or a practice of the institution. The second portion is plus, utilizing the students of the institution, that is involvement of the students. Last part, plus benefit to the society. These three things must be there. It should not be um, told by somebody to do it. It must be a institutional practice, and it should be done through the students, and it should be helpful for the society. Then only it will be considered as a best practice. On the best practice in the NAAC's website, they have given plenty of details as well. Even for admission portal, if you have a beautiful admission portal, that can be considered as a best practice. And many institution focuses on this making assembly, reading the newspaper. That cannot be considered. Making assembly, it is an institutional practices, and sometimes management will be overburdening us or instructing us to do it. So if it is in that manner, it cannot be considered. If it is a quality initiative of the institution, education to the rural woman, that can be considered. Providing training to the rural or any girl students with the tailoring facility, jewelry making, so earning while learning. So these type of activities can be considered. Now let us see what are the parameters. So there are 7 parameters. There must be a unique title for that practice. We need to give some title. In one institution, they were collecting the money from the students as 1 rupee per person. They were having 3,000 students. They were collecting 1 rupee per person. Monthly ones or weekly ones, whenever they have, they can put in some box. And monthly ones, it will be counted and accounted properly. At annually, if any students found that who are unable to pay the examination fees, who are unable to face the admission fees in the next year, those persons can apply for this. And some portion of amount of total admission or examinations will be, fees will be provided from that committee. If that process is there, title must be there. It's a Vidyarthi then they have given like that. What were the objective? To provide financial facility to the needy students, to encourage the students among being togetherness. These were the objectives. Now the next the thing is next parameter is practice. How it has been initiated? It has been collecting the money from the student. There will be a box kept in the institutional level, and every students will putting 1 rupee coin whenever it possible at their point of view. If they get more money also, they can put like this, and a committee will be taking care of providing the funds to the needy people. This is the practice. And what was the context? The context was many of the institutional students were unable to attend the classes or were leaving the educational institution for the situation. What they are facing is unable to pay the fees, sometimes unable to pay the examination fees. So that was the problem. So that will be called as context. So these are the 4 main categories. The 5th one is very much important, evidence of success. Now, evidence of success must be related to the objectives. That is the second parameter. What we have mentioned in the second parameter, that is providing to the financial support to the needy. Second one is inculcating the teamwork or togetherness. These two, whether it is been achieved or not, in a statistical format, we need to provide in the evidence of success. If you are able to prove it, then it will be how much money collected, how many students were statistically. We cannot mention many students contributed, many so much of amount collected, and many students benefited. Instead of that, we should mention statistics. If it is 10 students benefited, 10 students got the benefit of 1,000 rupees collected from 500 students. That will be called as evidence of success. The sixth and more final one is um, problems encountered while having this practice. What was the problems? The financial uh, amount required was more, demand was more, but the collected amount is less. So this was the problem. But while allocating, there is a chance of the students who are getting more marks will be benefited with the scholarship as well as this one also. That was the problem. What the action has been taken, then it has been resolved. Like this information has to be written for both the practices. And the last one, any additional information if related to this, to the next level, what you are thinking about to take this practice. So that need to be focused. The policy documents, photographs, any attendance or registered cash book, that will be taken care as a best practice thing. The last one is 7.3.1 institutional distinctiveness, where it will be allocated with 20 weightage. These two questions are very major questions where B team will provide in a 5-point scale. If they provide two, for this question you will get only 40 marks. For the previous question you will get only 60. If you are able to score 3 and 4, according to that you will get the weightage. So if you get 3 in the best practice, you will get 90 weightage. You will lose 30 weightage. If you get all the 4, then you will get 120 weightage. Many institutions nowadays, their grade will be divided between B plus and B double plus with 30 weightages. These two questions should be focused properly to get good weightage. Now, let us see the last question of our national level webinar, that is institutional distinctiveness. In simple words, I can say why your institution is existing. Even though if you have 100 institutions in and around your city or around your campus, why the student has to join your institution? Before thinking, before starting your thoughts, just focus on the vision. If the vision is proper, then you can write this last question. All the SSR will be started with the introduction and vision of the institution and will end with this question by stating how you have been achieved that vision. So in that manner, I will say one of the college was there which have been established in the border area of between two states, where that area is occupied in 3 direction by other state, and only one direction was towards the particular respected state, where the rural women were dropping from the continuation of higher education. There they have started separate college for women, and with the God grace, with their efforts, with their involvement in guiding the girl child, and they are able to get minimum 500 students every year, where they were having a co-ed institution, even a separate women-oriented educational institution have been established recently, and they are also getting a good number of admissions as well. So in this regards, all these things can be considered. Now the focus is on one area, one distinctive area where the performance of the institution is more. That should be written properly. If you get 4 for this, you will get 80 weightage. If you get 2, you will lose 40 weightage. So the thoughts is in your court now. So you can think anything beyond your limitations, which should be the practice of the institution and which should be discussed among the management as well from the authority with the all the faculty members. Then we have to decide what should be our institutional distinctiveness. how we should focus for the next 5 years or next 2 years to achieve this before submitting the SSR of the next cycle. So those type of discussions should happen more. Then we can easily prepare the reports for this in 1,000 words. This is the one question where the write-up should be beyond 500 words. That is, within 1,000 words we need to write. So this is all about the information what I have focused to provide based on the present manual regarding all the criterion from 1 to 7. I feel very honored to be part of this platform as well. So now the session is for open house. Anything can be asked now regarding criterion 6, 7, or even from 1 to 7. Anything, feedbacks can be taken.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights with us. We have one question in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
It is from Murali V. Sir is asking about, for alumni, we can include all the passed out students, but for NAAC purpose, what type of students, if we include in alumni, it will be easy to score more or gain good weightage?
The question is very beautiful, and the answer is very simple. All the alumni should be involved, but if they contribute in a financial manner or in a service or in kind, it will be more beneficial for the institution as well. To get this benefit, we need to provide the proper skills to them at the time of their learning. If we provide additional skills and additional knowledge to them, afterwards getting the jobs, they will themselves only they will provide something to the institution as well. By this way we can have a good rapport as well. If you have a good rapport with the good students, then after they're getting the jobs, they will give the feedback from the employers as well. So it will be helpful for 2 3 metrics as well.
So good afternoon.
Yes.
This is Dinesh from St.Teresa, GFGC and PG Center.
Namaste, sir.
Yes, sir. Namaste. ಈಗ ನಾನು GFGC and PG Center ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ we have an alumni with us now.
Yes, sir.
So alumni actually ಈ ಕಾಲೇಜು 1965 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಬಹಳ ಸೀನಿಯರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಏನೋ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಲ್. And we cannot easily approach them. That is our problem now. We are going for NAAC in this year. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ alumni
the last part was not audible, but still, if it is registered, we will get some weightage, good weightage. If it is active, we will get complete weightage. If it is inactive, at least to the 50% we will get. The recent what the alumni are available, so have a good rapport with them. It will be helpful for the institution to collect the SSS details. Even on P team visit date also, if the present alumni came and give a good feedback on the college, it will be helpful for grading by the P team members. So there also we can find a good relationship among the alumni. If long back students are there, and if it is inactive, let it be. It comprises of only 10 weightage. If it is possible, we will concentrate on that. Otherwise, we will concentrate on remaining 995 weightage. It will be helpful for the institution.
Yes, sir. The question is, can we have another registration as a part of alumni? Another registration.
So for this thing, we need to ask the government authorities which are related to cooperative societies, where we need to find the way to get the information from them. Whether can we go like this or separate registration, can it be done? So the requisition must be from the student side. It will be helpful for the communication. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question.
Sir, we have another question.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I?
Yes, madam.
Can I?
Yes, madam. Please go ahead.
Yeah, as regards the best practice adopted by institutions, I have a question. I don't know whether you will be able to answer me. The question is this: we are running a center of teaching excellence.
Okay.
This is a center where we try to train young faculties. Once in a month, we organize a program for specifically for young faculty, and we try to conduct some 10-20 programs over a period of 1 or 2 years, and we target 500 to 1,000 young faculty to be trained by Center of this Teaching Excellence. Can it be a best practice? Can we claim this is a best practice?
From past, how many years it has been done, sir?
1 year, and we will do it for next 1 or 2 years. We have
Then it can be considered. Even for the best practice, if you are following from more than 2 years, 3 years, it can be considered. For 1 year, it cannot be. If it is for 2 years, 3 years, it will be. And you should have a proper policy document for that purpose. How you will identify to provide that opportunity. For whom you will provide, you should have a policy document. If possible, you should have a committee for that to select, to guide, and to provide the further opportunities for them. If you have proper documents for that, even you can collect the feedback from the students who have got that opportunities as well. That can be considered. If possible, try to provide some financial support also. Then only it can be considered. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So I must say you have been a wonderful speaker. You were taking the questions very patiently and answering it. So thank you so much for your
Thanks, sir.
presentation.
Thanks for your feedback, sir. Thank you.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sudha, ma'am.
So, like regarding best practice, sir.
Yes, madam.
Like now we have the revised AQR formats, no, sir, like from 2020 onwards. So
Yes,
they
ma'am.
also we do the best practice. They have asked us to talk about 2 best practices. Suppose we are going for the NAAC in the year 2025. So now across we have all the AQRs for the 5-year period. So in our SSR, we talk about the best practice, which we have been doing for a couple of years, like 2 to 3 years. So naturally that has to be reflected. Part of it has to be reflected in the AQRs also, no, sir?
Sometimes what happens, the institution may practice so many related issues as a best practices. 1 or 2 will be mentioned in the AQRs. That cannot be concluded. Only those should be continued for SSR. In the SSR, if you feel something else as a practice, providing the good weightage for the institution, that can be considered. The thing is, if you have a proper documents related to that, where it will satisfy all the 7 parameters, then you can take your call on selecting the practices, and 2 practices must be mentioned in the SSR.
Okay, sir. Then one more question with regard to the audit, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So regarding because when we go for the audit, we have the certification agencies, no, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Like recently, last year, we had a letter from the NAAC regarding what are the agencies which should be awarding the certification, sir? Like they should be a part of the accreditation body. How far should we take it in the spirit, sir? Like they told that if you are going for the audit, suppose I'm asking someone to come for the audit, that agency should be a certified member of NABCB. How is it mandatory or?
The questions was in a different way. The audit committee will be different. This certification committee will be separate, like this NAAC, NBO, and ISO are accreditation bodies. These will be giving the accreditation certificates.